I will call to order the Torch Lake Township regular board meeting of March 18th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Sharon, will you lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Sharon. Reviewing our housekeeping items as we always do. Board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming. And I request that citizens who speak to us the height and close to your microphone. There will be two opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections. Would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. To respect everyone's time, I strongly urge the board not to respond to public comments, but address them in the board comment section. Sometimes this is difficult, but this is not a debating stage between citizens and board members. We have a township business to conduct, and it is required that we do so effectively. If there needs to be a follow-up from the board, I will direct the appropriate person to reach out to that individual. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Just to be clear, motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve. Are there any changes to the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 18th, 2025? I have none.
I have none.
All right. I will make the motion to approve the February 18th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting minutes of February 18th, 2025. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are there any changes to the minutes to the budget public hearing of March 11th, 2025? I have none.
I have none.
None.
Since you made them,
You're
you're good, right?
That's right.
I make the motion to accept them as presented.
All right.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the public hearing meeting of March 11th, 2025. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Next item is correspondence and announcements. Mary? Do we have
I
anything?
have nothing.
All right, nada. All right. Moving on, approval of the agenda. Anyone have any changes to the agenda?
I have none.
Hearing none, I make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks. Jason has moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We now move to citizen comments. Please respect the 4-minute time frame. We have a number of speakers tonight, so I will monitor the time.
Let's start with Julie Amos. Sure. Pam Williams.
Is this the one that works this time? Yeah,
Yep.
Sounds
okay,
good.
great.
Stand
I
Yep,
think
close.
talk.
that one was flopping last time.
Oh,
Well, there's
yeah.
nothing there.
You have to talk
Um,
right into it, though.
Okay.
Move it
so
around as you need.
Can you hear me? Good evening. Of course, I'm Pam Williams. I'm the library director at the Elk Rapids District Library. Tonight, you are considering a contract with our library. And again, for over 30 years, we've had contracted service with the Elk Rapids District Library and the Torch Lake Township. Without this contract, the southern, is it south or is it south, north, east, west? But it's the Elk Rapids District Library part of your Torch Lake Township. Would you call that south or west?
South.
Okay, thank you. This part will be under an underserved population in Michigan, and each resident will pay individually each year for their library services. First of all, I want to say that I appreciate this conversation that we've been having. I agree that this discussion needed to happen, and I've learned a great deal from it. One of the biggest takeaways for me is a significant discrepancy that exists in Torch Lake Township and how library services are funded. I hear your concerns, and I understand that you want us to address the issue by exploring a separate vote to bring the Torch Lake Township residents who live in Elk Rapids school districts into our library district. That is absolutely something worth considering. And I understand that thinking, I understand the thinking behind it. However, the reality is we simply don't have the bandwidth at this time to attempt to do that. As you know, we're in the middle of a capital campaign to move the library to a new location. This library will have a larger space, it will be more accessible, and it's an effort that won't just benefit Elk Rapids, but the greater Antrim County area, including your residents. What we are asking for in this contract is time. Time to get settled in our new space, time to strengthen our services, and time to work together on a long-term solution that works for everyone. In the meantime, the terms of this contract are truly incredible. While the ER district residents will be paying approximately $81 per capita for library services this year, Torch Lake Township residents can continue to receive full access to everything we offer for under $6 a person. The contract is asking for 5 more years of uninterrupted library services, after which we will consider the steps needed to include Torch Lake Township service area into our district. For many years, the whole area of Torch Lake Township has had access to the Elk Rapids District Library informally. I've spoken with Central Lake Library Director Patty Dawson to consider a reciprocal card agreement that, if approved by our boards, will continue to benefit all of your residents. Under this contract, every Torch Lake Township residents, regardless of where they live, will have access to both Elk Rapids District Library and Central Lake Library. This means you have more resources, more programs, more opportunities for people to serve. This is something that we have with Charlevoix, with Petoskey, so that they also might use our services and we could use theirs. But there has to be a contract. So tonight, I ask you to consider this contract as a bridge to the future. It provides stability and access while giving us the time we need to explore a long-term solution together. Let's keep the doors of our library open to Torch Lake Township residents and continue working toward a future that benefits us all. I'm here tonight to make myself available for questions and to address any of your concerns. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's hear from Nancy Taylor.
A little taller with my boots. How's this? Good?
Yep.
Hello, my name is Nancy Taylor. I've lived up here for we've had our house here for 7 years, and I'm an avid user of the library. And my reason for making this statement is to support what Pam said. It is in support of a contract with Torch Lake Township for library services. And it's not just books, it's also services for community support, and also now has a resource for food insecurity. So it's far beyond than just books, movies, and any sort of children program, which is amazing. But I guess my goal here today is for the board to consider, with the monies that are available in the budget, to consider this very inexpensive way for our residents to have access to services, programs, and also developing that relationship with Central Lake is also a sense of community, and also just give people the opportunity to find groups where they can address if they're having interests in certain hobbies, or if they're having social concerns or needing help with technology. So the library provides all of that, and without this contract, at least half of the district will be without. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Dick Lorenz.
Good evening, Dick Lorenz, 2715 Bay Harbor Club Lane. It's my understanding, based on the budget hearing last week and also Supervisor Cook's comments, that the township is considering not renewing the contract with Elk Rapids Library. I'm voicing my opposition and asking you to reconsider this. This contract has been beneficial for the township residents for many, many years, and we should consider the library an asset to the community. It's been made available at a very reasonable township expenditure. It's been a good deal, and it can continue to be a good deal. The 2025 contract would be $3,675, as we heard, about $6 if you break it down per person, as opposed to if you want a full membership and we don't have a contract, it's in the order of $80 per person, 6 versus 80. If the township believes the general fund should not support the Elk Rapids Library, I understand there's alternative fundings mechanisms that may be available. I request that the board consider this relatively modest expenditure for the library contract to be continued until these alternative fundings can be worked out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dick.
That's all we have for the library. Julie, did you want to go now, or do you want to wait till everybody else? Okay. Let's hear from Lindsay Eccles, Antrim County Parks update.
This includes Barnes Park. Does this include Barnes Park?
It does.
Okay.
All right, good evening. My name is Lindsay Eccles. I am the new Parks Director for Antrim County, and I just wanted to introduce myself to you guys and give you a quick update about what we have planned for 2025. The biggest thing is going to be at Barnes Park, which is in your township, is going to be resurfacing the road, the campground road on Barnes Park Road, the part that goes just through the campground, not the whole road. So we're working on that project, and I've talked to Sarah, the zoning administrator, about it as well. And so we've explored all those options, and we've issued RFPs out. I do have copies of it if anybody wants to see it. The other couple mentions would be, we have the Petoskey Stone Festival coming up again this year. It's the weekend before Memorial Day. So they'll be at Barnes Park again. Hopefully it will cut down on traffic with having it the weekend before camping actually opens, because it was really congested having it on the same weekend. And then you can reach me at the card. I gave you my information, but I will be at Barnes Park office starting in middle of April. Right now I'm in Bel Air at the county building. So if you ever need to get a hold of me, please reach out. And the other big thing is we're working on the Antrim County Parks and Recreation Plan. Needs to be updated. It expires this year. So I'm going to be working on that over the next year. And we'll be issuing surveys to the community to see how we're doing and what we can do better and what the expectations are from our users. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Oh, that's great. I'm glad you talked to Sarah. That takes care of that question.
Exactly, yeah. I was told I better talk to her first. Does anybody want a copy of the RFP? Do you want me just to?
I would,
Okay.
yeah.
I was on the Zoom meeting with you. I'm also on the committee for the Petoskey Stone Festival, so we want to encourage everyone to participate and come for sure.
It's okay, we can share.
We'll make,
But it is available online. It is available online also.
From the clerk. You could
Thank
get a
you.
copy from the clerk.
Let's hear from Kevin Hoke.
Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good, fantastic. Kevin Hoke, your Antrim County Sheriff. I want to go over a couple things. I'll make it real quick, Mr. Supervisor. We have a lot to talk about. So
Yes, sir.
before I get into your stats for February of 2025, I'm going to talk about a recent case that my deputies did an outstanding job on. And what that entailed was the first call that we received was a vehicle that crashed into a snowbank, a dumpster, and a mailbox. Not exactly in that order. So these individuals, when the deputy got there, they ran from the scene. When the deputy was investigating further, they came back to the scene, interviewed some people, found 2 handguns in the vehicle, 1 was stolen. Furthered the investigation to a residence in Mansalona Township. This is where all this occurred, at the border of Chestonia and Mansalona. And when they got to this residence, we had a state point outside. We did a search warrant. We got warrants for the individuals inside their residence. Make sure we get all our I's dotted and T's crossed. And we contacted the ERT, which is an emergency response team, which is basically a SWAT team. And we were able to make entry into the residence after several announcements and all that good stuff. And when we made entry, we found several guns. Some of the guns were sawed-off shotguns, which is illegal. You cannot have those. And I'm going to go over these individuals, and I even have pictures of who they are. So the first one, and all of these individuals have been arraigned. So we can talk about this. So the first individual, his name is Rodney Taylor, 55-year-old male. He was arraigned on possession of short-barreled shotgun rifle, resisting and obstructing police. Number 2, Dylan Taylor, 22 years of age. He was arraigned on 3 counts of assault with intent to murder, possess short-barreled shotgun rifle, weapon, felony, firearm, police officer assault, resist and obstruct. Number 3, Robert O'Neill, 22-year-old male. 3 counts of assault with intent to murder, weapons carrying with unlawful intent, lying to police officer assault, resist and obstruct, weapons, firearm, felony firearm. Number 4, Henry Daniels. This one gets me every time. 19 years old. 2 counts of assault with intent to murder, weapons, firearm, receiving, concealing, weapons, firearms, discharge from a motor vehicle, weapons carrying with unlawful intent, weapons, felony, firearm. I don't know if you guys can see this at all, but I want to make sure people can see it. These are individuals that basically stood off from my deputies. So this is the 4th one, and here's the other ones as well. I can pass it around if you guys want to look at them. I did put it in the news as well. They're all in jail. And there's another one that we just signed a warrant on the other day. I can't talk about him a whole lot, but because he has not been arraigned yet. So all my deputies went home uninjured, which is fantastic. And nobody else was injured in this incident as well. So, and that's what we like.
Was Bricko on the scene?
Bricko was on the scene. He was on the scene when all this transpired and when all the individuals were compiled together. Obviously, we make sure the scene is safe with Bricko as well. But he was there along with several other of my supervisors and my deputies. So, and in the midst of this, there were shots exchanged, not from us to them. It was from the 2 different groups that decided that whatever they were trying to do did not go their way. So the vehicle that we located that hit the snowbank, back window was all shot out, and there were pellets all over the back end of the vehicle. It was a good day because nobody in that vehicle was hit.
Kudos.
So, yep. So just want to let you know what my office is dealing with. This is real. and it's here. So we also have one of my detectives is in the undercover unit. We put him in there about a month and a half ago, give or take, and he's doing extremely well. He did well when he was the detective for us. He still is. And I mean, we're getting crystal meth out the streets. We're getting heroin. It is here. It's a real thing. So, but if you guys encounter anybody that has this stuff, please do not approach them. Do not get involved with them. Just call 911. So I'll give you your township report. This is good news.
All right.
So for February of 2025, 911 checks, we had 2. Alarms, we had 3. Car deer accident, we had 2. Fire alarm, we had 1. Harassment complaint, we had 1. Hazardous condition, 1. Medical alert alarm, we had 1. Medical calls, we had 16. Motors assist, we had 1. Personal injury crash, we had 3. Traffic stops, we had 7. Warrant attempts, we had 1. We had a total of 54 calls for service for the month of February. So I broke it down and basically the last 4.5 years. 2020, we had 934 calls for service. 2021, we had 915 calls for service. 2022, we had 883 calls for service. In 2023, 919 calls for service. In 2024, we had 950 calls for service. You can see it's kind of going up.
Mhm.
So far to date, for 2025, we got 103 calls for service. The report that I just gave you in reference to the 4 individuals that we arrested and that are arraigned and are sitting in our facility, I know what happened in Mansalona, in Chestonia Township. Some townships say that has nothing to do with us. What's the significance? It's in our county. You got a main drag that comes right through your township, US 31. And a lot of that stuff comes right on our main drags. So it comes through here. It may not stop here, but it does come through here. So we do have 3 academy students that are going to graduate May 17th. They're doing extremely well. We have 1 in FTO right now. That's field training. And he's just about done. He's going into a shadow program in about a week and a half. But,
So are you 3 short?
so
then?
right now, we're going to have 4 coming on the road here. We got 1 on the road right now. We got 3 in the academy, and we need 2 more. So
So you need 2 on top of the 3 that are still in
Yes, sir.
training.
And dispatch is doing all right. I know there's some retirees
dispatch,
there.
we got a few individuals that left and
Yeah,
basically completely got out of dispatching.
yeah.
And corrections, we have, I believe we're 2 down in corrections. So, but we do need some VSU people.
Yes,
Right,
we do. Yes, we do,
We do need
desperately.
that. So, but anybody wants to be a police officer, that's fine.
Can you pass the physical, Bob?
I have seen,
I don't think I passed the age
I have
or
s-
physical.
Can you?
I have seen several more state troopers, traffic stops along here. Is that routine for them too right now, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen one of our county deputies, James Schlappy. He hit this
Oh,
area
yeah.
quite a bit. And,
He
have
stops
you-
in too here.
Okay, yes. So he stops in here a lot, I know, and he's up in Banks Township quite a bit. And but yeah, so we're just moving along. Just like everybody else, we're short, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
We're not the only agency. Any
Very
questions
good.
from the board?
I do.
Yes, sir.
These 4 individuals, is this gang related or drug related?
We feel it's drug related and there was no product that we located. So usually when you get guns involved, there's usually drugs involved. Not always, but
Right.
majority of the time there is. So by the time we made entry into the residence, there was nothing in there. But they had ample enough time
Yeah.
to do what they had to do if they had some product with them. So,
Very good, thank you.
all right, thank you guys very much
Thanks,
for your
Kevin.
time.
Jennifer Herbert.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer A. Bear. It's pronounced
Oh, I'm sorry.
with a little bit of a French
Sorry,
accent. No,
sorry.
no worries. I'm a resident on the north end of Torch Lake. My family's been here since the 1870s. And so I love this area very much. I love the lake and all the opportunities that we have around here. So I'm speaking about the Nakuema Trailway that hopefully will be put through Torch Lake Township. A lot of people, most of you may be aware of them in Traverse City or Charlevoix or Petoskey, but there's a group of citizens working here. And so I'm here to encourage the board to continue working on a recreation plan, working with the county, working on a master plan that will include the Nakuema Trailway. And I'm going to give you some reasons why. I'm also in favor of the library. That's very important, and it's such a really inexpensive option that's open to every single resident. It's a wonderful thing. But anyway, reasons for everyone in the township to support the Nakuema Trailway. It provides for good community activities. It promotes a healthy lifestyle. It encourages our aging population to be active. It links area to area, like Barnes Park to the trail to local farms. It would maintain a safer environment for walking or biking to business or work. It connects residents and friends with nature in beautiful settings. It allows non-motorized access to local businesses by employees and customers. Eventually, it would provide a safe crossing over US 31, maybe near M88. It would provide trails that handicap and all ages of people. And also, it's important, it would be a year-round activity. There aren't a lot of things. I know we have a wonderful day park, and I know we have the DNR access in Eastport, but this is something that is used by people year-round. And you know, at no cost to them, they can get out and walk. They don't have to have a fancy motorboat to get on the lake. They can just walk or bike if they have a bike. And I just think that's really important to make that accessible to everyone. So far, the trailway would be in the highway right away throughout the township. But one of the reasons I think it's the most important, and I'll be kind of quick, in our society now, there's so many people on cell phones all the time. We're in our houses. We're not sitting on our porch talking to our neighbors. We're driving in our cars with our air conditioned, with our windows up. And so I think people, and they're saying young people feel much more isolated because they've grown up with the cell phones and the screen time, whereas many of us adults have not. And so I had a philosophy professor in college once that said part of he thinks mental illness is because we don't connect with each other enough. And I think the trailway is one of the coolest ways that you could connect people. People could join, you know, could meet up there. They can meet new people going up and down the trailway. And anything that gets us out in nature is important. Anything that gets us out in nature should be a priority. So that's it. Oh, also one last thing. A group of citizens and family foundations, and I don't know if you all know this, were able to purchase and donate to Tart Trails a 5-acre parcel right at M88 and US 31. And so I'm sure that the Barnes Park and the Antrim County people would like to, you know, be in contact with them because it would make a wonderful trailhead, and it's directly adjacent to the Barnes Park. So anyway, just encouraging you all, not only you as township board members, but you know, the public to support this as it becomes more, it takes hold in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jairus Rubing.
Jairus Rubin, County Commissioner, District 2. I'm the Antrim County Commissioner that serves on the Northern Michigan Counties Association, and we had a meeting yesterday, and they talked a lot about charter spectrum and broadband expansion in Antrim County. The two major areas that they're working on right now is over on the east side, Mansalona Township, and specifically Lakes of the North. It's been kind of a spotty region for a long time, and they've gotten some grants, some federal grants. There's a program called the BEAD program, and with the Trump administration, they have a new Commerce guy there, the Department of Interior, and they're working together, and his main goal is to speed up the process, speed it up, because they've been working over there for over 2 years now, and they still don't have good internet. So they're hoping to get that done here in the next year, and they have a website that any resident in Antrim County can go to and type in their address, and it will say whether they have access to quality internet or not. It's kind of a cool feature that they have. Second thing, the county commissioners at our meeting this week will be looking at marijuana disbursement. Antrim County gets approximately $232,000 this year from the marijuana tax, and it's not. There's some funds that have to be spent for a specific reason, and this one is one that's not restricted. Unrestricted, that's the word I was looking for. It's an unrestricted fund. And we have a discussion on our agenda to divide it evenly between the townships. And if that happens, that will be $15,500 for Torch Lake Township. And that would be allocated specifically for roads. We've had numerous townships that have requested help for roads. And I know you have a road millage here. Banks Township doubled their road millage this year from 1 mil to 2. And still fixing roads. I mean, they've been looking at Essex Road for a couple of years now. And when you talk $2 million, 2 mills in Banks Township doesn't get you very far. So that's just something that the townships have been asking for a while. And so I thought you would be interested in it.
That's at your next meeting?
Yep, Thursday.
Thank you.
So how many townships don't have a road millage?
Every township in Antrim County has a road millage.
The
It
way you
just,
said that, I was wondering if somebody didn't have it, because we're all asking for money and we're very famous for the Heisman we get.
There's 15 townships, 5 villages.
some townships have different amounts of road millage. The common one is 1 mil. Most townships have a mil. Banks Township now has 2. There's some that are in between. Just depends what the township decides.
Okay.
But there was a time when not everybody had one, for
No, I
sure.
remember, it wasn't that long ago.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Stop.
Okay, Julie.
She wanted it at the
Oh, the end of the night? Okay, well then,
All right.
we're
the
done.
second one.
All right,
Oh,
board.
second public
Gotcha,
comment.
gotcha.
Thank you, everyone, for
Second
your
public comment,
comments.
Right.
Second, citizen, gotcha.
Okay.
Moving on, we'll move to the consent agenda. Does anybody want to pull any reports? If not, then I will accept all reports. The board is accepted by consent. All right, special reports. And he was in his there. We didn't have a planning commission, there is one on Monday night at 7 p.m. And I believe they will, they've got a informational meeting, a new chairperson, and I think they will be talking about the timing for the master plan, and we will include a recreational plan at that time as well. Mary, FOIA request. All right. We have four motions related to the budget resolution for the salaries of elected officials as approved by the electors at the annual meeting on March 15th, 2022. Board, any discussion on resolution 2025-01, supervisor salary that the electors approved at the annual meeting held on March 11th, 2025?
No, none.
No discussion? Then I will make the motion to approve resolution 2025-01, establishing the supervisor salary at $35,190 for the fiscal year 2025-26. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2025-01, establishing the supervisor salary at $35,190 for the fiscal year 2025-26. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Mary, will you conduct a roll call vote, please?
Sharon,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
me, yes.
And just so everybody knows, we have to go through this, so there's an awful lot of reading going to take place. Next item, 1B, any discussion on resolution 2025-02, clerk salary that the electors approved at the annual meeting held on March 11th, 2025. That increased the salary amount from the board's recommendation of $33,000 to $35,190. I will make that motion to approve the change to resolution 2025-02, establishing the clerk salary at $35,190 for the fiscal year 2025-26 per the vote of the electors at the annual meeting of March 11th, 2025. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jason. Any discussion on the motion? What I would like to point out is the clerk salary for 2024-25 was $31,000. The board recommended a 6.5%, and the electors gave a total of 13.4% from the 24-25 level. We look forward to having a clerk that meets or exceeds the statutory role of clerk. Any other comments regarding this motion? Hearing none. Mary, a roll call vote, please.
Jason,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes?
Sharon,
Yes.
Mary. Yes.
That was a very weak yes.
I'm sorry. I'm multitasking. Yes.
You all set?
I'm good.
All right.
Yes.
1C, any discussion on resolution 2025-03, the treasurer's salary that electors approved at the annual meeting held on March 11th, 2025? Hearing none, I make the motion to approve resolution 2025-03, establishing the treasurer's salary at $35,190 for the fiscal year of 2025-26. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mary. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2025-03, establishing the treasurer's salary at $35,190 for the fiscal year of 2025-26. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Mary, please conduct a roll call vote.
Bob,
Yes?
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Mary, yes.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Any discussion on resolution 2025-04, trustee salary that the electors approved at the annual meeting held on March 11th, 2025?
I make a motion.
The motion to approve resolution 2025-05, establishing the trustee's salary at $6,210 for the fiscal year 2025-26. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mary, please conduct the roll call vote.
Jason,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Mary, yes.
All right, thank you, board. Item number 2, Any discussion related to the proposed Torch Lake Township pay schedule that will take effect April 1st, 2025? The only change is related to the clerk's salary from the previously passed schedule.
I'll make a motion to pass it as is,
All right, motion to.
updated.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion?
I got one.
Okay,
I see we still have the zoning assistant administrator on here. We don't have one of those
No.
anymore, do we?
we can remove that. Sharon, will you accept that as a change to your motion?
So just the one item, Jason?
That's all I see.
Well, we had a discussion why it was there before, but I don't remember what it was.
That's fine. Happy to remove it. Make that part of the motion. So approve the proposed Torch Lake Township pay schedule with changes, removing assistant zoning administrator that will take effect April 1st, 2025 for the fiscal year 2025-2026. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mary, roll call vote, please.
Sharon,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Mary. Yes.
All right. Item number 3. In the past, we have voted on the budget for the various funds as one vote. We will do so again this year. As mentioned in my budget presentation, I would be requesting a realignment of the split of the fire and ambulance mills between operations and capital allocation. Therefore, in the following motion, I will be increasing the capital allocation for fire with the offset to operations. And for ambulance, I will be decreasing the capital allocation with the offset to the operating allocations. I make the motion to approve all tax levy and non-tax levy budgets as presented with changes to fire and ambulance allocations as follows. To approve the fire fund special assessment budget with a tax levy of 1.75 mil with an adjustment in the allocation splitting the operational expenses moving from 1 mil to 0.6 mil and the split for the capital allocation moving from 0.75 mil to 1.15 mil for capital allocation. To approve the road fund budget with a tax levy of 1 mil for their operational budget. To approve the ambulance fund special assessment budget with a tax levy of 2.25 mil with an adjustment in the allocation split increasing operational allocations from 1.85 mil to 2.0 mil and reducing capital allocation from 0.4 mil to 0.25 mil. Motion to approve the general fund of 1 mil with 1 mil operational budget. That, let's see.
We need the road in there?
So yeah, we will approve the budget as presented for the Liquor Enforcement Fund, the Torch Bay Nature Preserve Fund, the Cemetery Fund, and we will approve the road fund at 1 mil. I believe I've got them all now.
Yes.
All right.
We'll put them in a different order in a minute so that the county
Yeah.
can get in.
Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion is moved and seconded to approve all tax levy and non-tax levy with changes to fire and ambulance allocation as presented. Any further discussion? If not, Mary, would you conduct a roll call vote, please?
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Mary, yes, Bob,
Yes. Thank you, board. It makes it a lot easier than going through all the motions. Next item, item 4, is purchase a fire truck pumper. As mentioned in my budget presentation, that we would evaluate ordering a fire pumper truck earlier in order to lock in the pricing. I am presenting a request to the board to approve the purchase of the new fire pumper truck. Any discussion on a new truck?
This is the one we were discussing last week.
Yes. Yeah. It's the smaller one down at the south end of the station. The one that's going to cost that increase from 650 to
To a
950
million, okay.
was the same one. We got a good price.
This is not going to the South Station.
Yes, it is. It's not the big one. This is what the little ones now cost. The big ones are closer to 900,000, which is what would replace engine number one.
Right.
But that doesn't retire until I think it's 38 or 42. So another board is going to have to worry about that.
I'm so confused with all these vehicles.
Yeah.
Um,
Our fire chief is back there. I'm sure he's got it under control.
So I thought you were, in your discussion, it was the engine was what you were talking about.
Well, I thought the engine was going to be a replacement identical to the one that's out there.
Right.
Which was the one 850 to 950. In fact, that's too big to fit down there at that station.
Right, it is. That's why
And
I
this
question
one-
this, like,
And this one here is 8821, I believe. And so we ought to get a better resale value by getting that sale in earlier. And we lock in a price because in essence, it's going to take 675 days. or
okay,
2+ years.
so we got a truck on its way right now, right?
That's a tank.
Tanker.
That's the tanker.
Oh, I'm still confused.
That's all right. We got 2 tankers. We've replaced them.
Right,
So now I said the pumpers are going up in price. So we've got 8821 that is retiring in 32. And based on how long it takes to build these things, we'd have to order in
so
27
my
or
confusion
28.
is there's 3 different types of units, pumper, tanker, and engine then. Okay, I'm confused with all those. Okay,
All right?
We're locking this one in now because if we don't, we wait to the normal period, it's gonna be up to $1
Yeah,
million.
we'd be waiting 3 years.
Yeah, because didn't it jump like a couple 100,000 from
Well,
last
the
year?
other one nearly doubled,
Yeah.
or 50% increase.
so this one will fit at the South Station then? And this is due in 26?
No, the tanker is due in 26. This isn't going to be, all right, somewhere in late 27 or 28. 675 days from the time we place the order.
Oh, from the place of the order, okay.
So we're only having to put down 150 on it. The balance is going to be due on delivery, so. And we have roughly, I think, 289,000 in the capital fund for the fire. So we have the funds available to do it.
And they'll stick to this price? They're not gonna,
But we got to pay off the one that's
they're not
coming in
gonna
though.
throw us any surprises after we lock it in?
Here's the thing.
Yeah, there's surprises.
There are no fixed contracts, even though they're called fixed contracts.
Yeah, the last 2 were increased along the way too, so.
Oh, really?
Because what they do is they come to you and say, if you don't want it, that's fine. We'll take your unit and you can renegotiate a new one. Which is why you get in here and you get it and you just monitor the price changes as they come along, if they come along.
So what's the balance we owe on the next one coming in?
Let's see.
200 and some thousand,
It's about 250
260.
and it's going to come in 26. And I figure that the timing will be three more tax assessments. So we'll have this one,
One more.
correct me, yeah, 2. We'll have 2.
Yeah.
So we'll have roughly 500,000 in the fund. The whole idea behind the fund was to build up that capital fund so we could pay cash and not have to borrow from a bank. And you've got the money that is sitting there invested in high yielding investments. So
And we
we're
increased,
in better interest.
and we increased the capital on it anyway, so.
Yeah, because when the township gets into the early 30s, they're going to be looking at probably $1.5 to $2 million to replace engine number 1, with who knows how long a time frame that is. So what I'm trying to do is put the reserves on the books so the next township isn't scrambling to do it. And we keep our money in high yielding investments. Whatever the interest rates, the highest we get out of the, that group that you're investing through the state, I think it is. So I think it's the right way to proceed. And as I say, 8821 is going to retire in,
I just thought this was a good price for the engine. I'm like, wow.
no,
Wrong.
wrong.
But the good thing is we'll get more money selling this
Yeah,
truck because it's a little newer than.
right. But again, it'll be 2 years older.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it's just a balancing act of price increase and the lower depreciation on the existing one.
So this, okay. I was just going to say the ISO people were here today, but he probably doesn't have a report on
We
that
won't
yet.
know. He said 30 days, but,
Okay, that, I just kind of, I knew they were here today,
Yeah.
so.
but, you know, I think he has to judge the equipment on hand as opposed to what's coming. So
Yeah.
next year we'll have new tanker, and then 2 years after that. I mean, right now we're at what, 6? With the lowest score being a 5?
Yeah, he said that right now we're 6, at level 6 on the ISO, and it can be reduced to a 5. So that's the lowest, that's really good for rural area. It can't be any better than 5.
So how often do they do those ISOs? I'm off topic here, but,
We can request it at any time.
okay,
The last one was done in 2018, and so now we're just going through the process again.
okay,
But if something changes, we can request him to come back, and he does a reevaluation, then submits it, and then we get the results back.
okay. That was off topic, I'm sorry, but I knew that they were here. I didn't,
Yep, no, we're in good shape and we're trying to get it better. Yep,
What does ISO stand for?
insurance standard,
insurance off,
something.
Yeah, what basically ISO does, that's what all the insurance companies base their premiums on when they look at that ISO score. So that affects your homeowner's insurance.
Okay.
The lower we can get, the lower the premiums for your homeowner.
So lower the score, the better.
Yep.
We're at 6 right now.
Okay.
So
We're,
We're aiming for that 5.
any other discussion on this? If not, then I will make the motion to approve the purchase of a new fire pumper truck from Spencer Manufacturing, Inc. for $745,000, providing a $150,000 deposit with delivery approximately 675 days of final change order approvals. Any discussion regarding the motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jason. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of a fire pumper truck from Spencer Manufacturing, Inc. at a price of $745,000. Torch Lake Township will provide a deposit of $150,000 with the final balance due upon delivery. The delivery will be within 675 days of final change order approvals. Any further discussion? Mary, a roll call vote, please.
Bob,
Yes?
Sharon,
yes.
Mary, yes. Jason,
Yes.
We got to change those names on there, obviously.
yeah, I'm doing it on my page.
Uh-huh.
but I don't have.
Remember, I just throw names on there.
Right.
Don't worry, I'll do the minutes.
I know. So on to the next item, and finally, I don't have to talk about it. Sharon, this is yours.
Well, we passed 2 months ago, the Township Cemetery Ordinance number 2025-01. And I was going to bring this to the board last month, but I missed that meeting due to flu and in the bed for a couple of days. So it didn't come to you. This is kind of a rough draft. I don't know if you've had a good chance to really look at it. It's the fees we'd like to look at. I did meet with our cemetery sexton and Mortensen Funeral Homes, and spent a lot of time with them, going through it. So this is a proposal that we come up with, but the board has any changes that they would like to make on it. The only thing we added on there, a little extra, was verification of tax records and no vacant land. That was something new that the other one did not have. My reasoning was we have quite a few tiny little pieces of land. Bayview Sub would be a good example. Some of them don't even pay $50 in annual taxes, and they come in and buy 10, 12 cemetery lots. But that's we can leave it in or take it out or whatever.
I would leave it in. You and I talked about this. I think it's an excellent point, and considering that nobody ever had to submit a tax record before, this is a good check so that we make sure everybody's
Checks and
there.
balances. I mean, you can have vacant land here. Eventually, if you have vacant land, eventually perhaps you can build on it. Then it comes around to purchasing, this a cheaper, lot type of thing with being a resident. So,
Do you want to make the motion, or I can?
I
make
mean,
the motion?
that's
Well,
out of
it's-
this whole piece of paper, the only thing I had circled and question marked was the no vacant land. I get the small parcel, but what happens if somebody owns 40 acres or 80 acres?
So what are they doing with it? Farming it or just,
Well, they're paying taxes on it for one.
okay. Are they living somewhere else and want to be buried here then?
I guess maybe I'm thinking 1 acre or more.
I'm not going to get into specifics of those. I don't think the board wants to.
Well, if you're going to, if
Either
we're
it's
going to
in
put
or
in,
it's
say
out.
no, if we are going to put in and say no, then the option just would be that a minimum acreage of,
That's gonna cross hairs between the sexton and who's verifying and whatever. I mean, it's,
well, if you have the tax record, that information's on the tax record, right?
yeah, you can have subdivisions, you can have anything else, but when you start getting an acreage, there's not an acreage on every single description of a tax bill by any means. So who's gonna draw that up? Not every description on a tax bill has acreage on it.
Does it say vacant land on it? Or
No,
does it say residence?
no.
No?
It would be like a lot, a subdivision number type of thing. It could be anything else. I mean, no two tax bills of descriptions always look alike. There's a meets and bounds description. You can draw it out and see how much acreage is there, or there's a lot of descriptions that don't have acreage at all.
So all the lots between Bay Colony and San Marino, back there in the swamps and the woodlands, a lot of small lots, they would not be eligible to have a cemetery lot. Because you probably got a
Unless they
couple
pay
hundred.
non-township residents.
Yeah, they can pay but I'm not sure where you're asking these questions at. I'm not going to do a resolution that's going to specifically say this lot size and this lot size. That's out. Either it's in or it's out. We're not going to verify sizes of land that you have. So this is a discussion.
What,
I just know what I experienced by seeing it when
you said,
selling lots.
you said the sexton wasn't gonna like that. What's he got to do with,
Who?
you said the sexton, the cemetery sexton's not gonna like
Well,
having
doesn't-
1
he
acre
doesn't
or
have-
more?
Of no vacant land?
Yeah.
He doesn't have very many ordinances or resolutions in other townships that say that. So, but he doesn't have it where it's verified tax records either. He just takes the word of the person. Do you have a lot? Do you have land in Torch Lake Township? And they'll say yes. Well, we could be down the day park and people will be loading their boats up. Are you a township resident? Yes. What is your address? It's down in Milton or somewhere else, whose word are you going to take? So that's what I really wanted the verification in there.
Verification is excellent.
Yeah, I think so too.
So the question is, if they verify they have a piece of property, are they entitled to have a lot?
And I think now we can easily take that no vacant land out, because in our new ordinance, you can only buy 2 grave sites anyway now. And so before, you could buy as many as you wanted. And my example was that small, teeny tiny that paid less than $26 a year, and the township tax was less than a couple dollars. Then they bought 8, 9, 10 more lots, and they don't even live here. They live in Flint. So that was my example in my head when I was thinking of all this. But now they wouldn't be able to do that anyway, because they can only buy 2 if they had to do that again.
So let's strike no vacant land.
Okay, we can do that. That's
All right.
discussion. But
All right.
verification of tax records, you want that left in there?
Absolutely.
What about the fees? 10% of that fee goes right to the sexton right away on top of it. So it's more like,
720.
mhm. And I know that we're getting more and more less, I was gonna say more or less. Our new cemetery is getting filled up really relatively quick. And we have more expenses on upkeep of lawn care and everything, as you know. So it costs more to maintain that cemetery up there now. So we have a whole new back section that's totally undeveloped. So by the time we start clearing trees and stumps and getting that organized, that's going to take years down the road. So before we can start selling any more grave sites there. So it's not a easy. I know there's some townships in the area that are very limited in land. They don't have any extra in what encompasses what they currently have. So they don't even allow selling it to non-township residents at all, which we still do. So we got the ordinance in place. That's in place currently. So we were practically giving them away with cost. So this is something we needed to do in this next phase here.
The discussion that Sharon and I had 1,000 instead of 800. And I wanted non-township resident be a little higher. Sharon said 800, 1,600 was reasonable. It was in the ballpark of other townships. But we're going to be incurring significant expenses in that expansion. So the question is, we only really outside of the township, this is the only other way of financing any of that.
Well, it comes out of general fund, financing it, but this helps with maintenance and upkeep, And we don't, it's not like we sell. I don't know how many we sell up there. It's not, they're not.
Well, this year's budget, this coming fiscal year, I think we have 10,000 in the cemetery. Where's that the lawn? Lawn care is 10.
I think we
put
have 25 in the
25.
25,000 in the budget currently for
in the
start
general fund.
working on that back area. And that's what our sexton really encourages us to do, is start working on that. We bought that land so many years ago and we've done nothing with it yet. And it takes a long time to develop it. So we got to get going on that.
Mary, thoughts?
These were the fees here that was set by our sexton here. So we hashed them
I mean,
over.
we had talked about it quite a bit, and I thought this was, we're going from 200, to 800. I
Yep.
thought that was a decent jump. I don't know if I'd go higher than that.
All right.
So what you want me to take out of there is no vacant land then, but leave the verification of tax records?
Yep. If you're fine with that, then
Any other concerns?
Is the cremation and the burial, that 700 and 350, is that for anybody?
Opening the graves, yes. Opening, closing the graves. And that's
Resident,
that's where I
non-resident?
had to go get the sexton's totals for that, because I had no idea. So, and he wanted the wording in there Monday through Friday, because Saturdays and Sundays are a little more expensive. So we put that Monday through Friday in there, opening and closing. And then it says, and then of course it quotes the ordinance there under section 10, under the direction and control of the designated official contracted by the township. And then underneath that, it says other charges could be charged under the direction of the sexton, which could imply a Saturday or Sunday. And that would be the discretion of the sexton and opening and closing the graves during anything other than a Monday through Friday. We had to make a clause in there to cover everything.
All right, well, you want to
I'm
make the
good.
motion?
I'll make the motion. So motion with the corrections or adjustments, or what, how do you want to have her say that? Removal?
You want me to read it off to you?
Oh,
I'll
is
make
it,
the
there's a
motion
thing?
to approve resolution 2025-07, cemetery ordinance fee schedule as presented with changes, with an effective date 30 days after date of publication, newspaper of general circulation within the township. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mary.
I don't have that motion.
Well,
Not
I
my packet.
put it together in my,
Gotcha. So who made the motion?
I made the motion. I'll repeat the motion. Motion to approve resolution 2025-07, cemetery ordinance fee schedule as presented with changes, with an effective date 30 days after date of publication in the newspaper of general circulation within the township. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, Mary, a roll call vote, please.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes?
Mary, yes.
So who made this? Who seconded it?
Mary?
Okay, thank you. We'll get this ready to be put in the newspaper along with all the other things we need to publish next week then.
All right, board, one more from Sharon. It's all yours.
My eyes are goo-goo golly, and I had to look at numbers beyond. I print out the expenditure over budget reports, and I kind of work and make sure that every department is not out of balance or out of, so the auditors come next month, we won't get anything. So first one we have is general fund. And if you have any questions on any of those, I can try to answer them. Election was the big one. We didn't allow for elections much. That 9-day early voting came in, which we weren't prepared for. So that election budget was kind of in the tank because we didn't really expect what we had to pay out for those
Well, the
9 days.
9-day was a surprise.
Yeah, it was. So the biggie one on here is election. We have to make sure that the election cost center is not way over budgeted.
Well, the two that you could also explain, the cemetery contract, that was for lawn services. We had, the people that did it were our employees that went over there, and we ended up having to contract that out. So that drove that price. Under zoning administration, the attorney that we have had 2 cases, zoning violations, which we have had to fight in court. I'm a firm believer that if I have zoning ordinances, we're going to fight to enforce them. And if it takes us in court, the other party's got to spend the money as well. So we're going to, right now we have one that's at the circuit court level for review, and they submitted a 500-page brief, which is, absolutely ridiculous, but our lawyers have to read through that 500 pages. So it's expensive. So those are the two things that I can talk about. I'm not quite sure about 803, zoning administration contract services. That would be Sarah, and her time would have been involved in both of the cases that would have gone to district court and also.
And the new zoning ordinance.
Yeah, she's put work into that. We just haven't gotten it to the planning commission. And as I said in the annual meeting, I'm going to push everybody hard on that one. Can we go ahead and review the other two?
Sure. The next one is 2025-09 Fire District. Most of it was, well, a big one was insurance and bonds. We got a bunch of new fire trucks and we had a lot more insurance to pay. So that kind of went up. Building improvements is,
I think those were the doors.
those were the brand new doors on the fire, yeah, the doors. Those were very expensive.
Yep.
That's what took that one over.
Yep.
I don't know how many doors. 2 doors, Kevin? 2 big doors or 3?
No,
Yeah, it's the doors on that one. And
It
then
was
the other
just-
insurance and bonds is mostly our insurance on those new
Is that
fire
here or
trucks.
south?
no,
Here, the big ones here.
we had to replace all the springs on the doors. We had one spring blow, and they were all the same age, so we were fighting the clock on that.
Yeah, we couldn't open them, the
Dang,
doors to get anything out. So
those
we were
springs
juggling
must-
around. They were juggling around vehicles.
Those springs must be made out of gold.
They lasted a long time. You want to do the ambulance?
And the ambulance is always struggling with the overtime that we have to pay. And the big one was medical insurance. We had several more full-time employees that added their families on, so it wasn't, that one went way over. Pensions, the contract services, and
That's,
insurance, they're all
That's not a
standard
lot.
thing, they're all,
now, what this doesn't tell you is all the things that came under budget.
well,
So-
there's a lot of pages that are still over budget, but they're smaller. These are the biggies. And
Yes.
these are the ones that we need to make sure, so. Yeah,
All right, can we combine the 3 resolutions in one motion? Or you have to have individual motions for
well, each one has a number, so if you want to do it in the motion with adding the
Yep.
8, 9, and 10, I
Yep.
guess that would work.
Then I would like to make a motion to approve budget adjustments for fiscal year 2024-25 by combining the resolutions 2025-08, 2025-09, 2025-10. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion is to approve the budget adjustments for fiscal year 2024-2025 according to resolutions 2025-08, 2025-09, and 2025-10. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mary, a roll call vote.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes,
Mary, yes. Bob,
Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody, for going through all that paperwork with us. Moving on to the next item, board discussion. Board. I handed out some information to you on this. And there seems to have been a slight curveball thrown that, in fact, there may be an alternative to the contract through the discussions of coordinating between Central Lake Library District and Elk Rapids Library District. I wasn't too sure about that, if that is something that is close to being formalized, or is that just a discussion point at this juncture?
And it would be part of this contract, it's a separate agreement I would have with Central Lake to have others. So I suggested it to her and she was open to that, but she needs to, of course, check with the board and so.
Yep.
But our history of use of agreements is positive. We have them all
Yep.
individually.
I got it. Very good. Board, we requested two things from Elk Rapids, their library contract and the additional metrics. So I asked the board for their comments about the contract.
Well, I took a few notes down there. The wording uninterrupted contract for 5 years. I'm not sure what that meant. Uninterrupted. And alternate funding, I'm not sure what that all entails. I don't know. I have so many notes on mine.
Hey, can we take a 5-minute break? I need to go get the other folder.
Okay, sure. Yep.
Jeez. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we can take 5 minutes. This is an important topic. Give me another minute.
Great.
All right. Everybody set? All right, so they submitted a contract. I'm interested in your feedback. Yeah, whoever wants to jump in.
I don't know about its feedback. I am questioning the 5-year agreement. Seems a little long, but I'm willing to hear. I also am looking at the residency eligibility. It's available to our residents that live in the Elk Rapids School District, but ones that don't live into it have to pay for a library card, which is fine, but if I'm paying some of my taxes that I'm already paying is going to that library, then I have to pay twice to have a card too. So I'm questioning that. And that's probably it for right now.
All right. Mary?
Well, I'm not sure because when you were talking, I wasn't sure if what you were saying was the agreement with the Central Lake Library would mean then that everyone in the township could use the Elk Rapids Library and the Central Lake Library? I got a little confused there.
Would you go? Yeah.
And even as we started this conversation, both Bob and I, as we were talking, we're like, who do we serve? How many do we serve? What is our number? And where do they live? We're always, I've only been here 2.5 years, but even talking to Patty Dawson, she is, I don't know where that
about a
line
split.
is.
We're almost a
And I've
split.
asked a number of times, like, where is that? We don't know. But I did contact the state, and instead of the 500, we actually serve 606. So talking to Patty, she's kind of like an island on her own. She's not part of our co-op. She doesn't really relate to any of the libraries around. She does her own thing, and she has her own millage, so she is self-sustaining. The rest of us are all in a co-op, so Tattle, like Traverse City and us, we have a reciprocal agreement. So their people can come to our library, get a card for free as a guest. They don't have full privileges. They have full privileges at their home library, so they can get Melcat and ebooks and things at their home library. So I proposed to her that we do the same thing, where you and I, because it's mixed anyways, and for years we've just, if you're in Torch Lake, you got a card, right? But now
No.
that we know, no, you've been told no by the
All
Elk
of
Rapids
us here,
Library?
all of us on this board here are Central Lake District.
Wait.
Right, but if you came to our library and said, I live in Torch Lake Township, they would have given you a card
No,
without
I don't
even
know.
asking
I don't
you.
know.
She's talking in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
That
I'm talking
has
for the
now
last
changed.
30 years, so it's
Yep.
been kind of wishy-washy about that. So now that we're trying to get a nice, clean contract and talk about equity and paying for library services, then the reciprocal agreement makes sense with Central Lake. So proposing it to her so that when my people come in and go to Central Lake, even though they're in Elk Rapids School District, they will get a guest card. And when her people come into my library, they will get a guest card, and those would be free. The people that get charged are people who are not part of the district and who don't have a reciprocal agreement with us. And that's how Central Lake has been for years, but it's still, like I said, it's been wishy-washy. So she said, we don't really check to see the school district. We just kind of trust the people who come in, like you were saying, to say, yeah, I do. I live in Torch Lake, yeah.
But that sounds like an agreement between two libraries, has nothing to do with the township.
No, it doesn't, but it's a benefit. I'm offering that as a fig leaf to you to say, hey, this is something we can do if that's what you're concerned about. We can have that reciprocal agreement. But we can't do it without a contract. We can't do it with, okay, go
I
ahead.
just want to be clear.
Yeah.
So when you say that the people in the Central Lake School District could have a guest card at Elk Rapids,
Mhm.
then that gives you access to some of
Right,
your amenities.
just
I don't know if that's
checking out books.
But not all.
No, not the,
Okay.
all, okay.
My main concern here with this, because I want to support the library. And in the past, if the township has made this contribution and the whole township could go to the library in Elk Rapids and use all of the services, then that makes sense to me. But the fact that the money that we'd be giving you comes out of the general fund, that's money that's contributed by everyone that lives in this township. So I have a hard time supporting the fact that people in Central Lake School District could have a guest card, but would still have to pay when they're paying the same amount because it's coming out of the general fund. Do you see what I'm saying? So everyone in the township is paying for the money
Right, I
that's
understand
coming
that.
to your
Yeah.
contract. So, and even though, and I live in Central Lake and I want to support Elk Rapids so much, I have to look at it from the standpoint of some other people that maybe wouldn't feel the way that I do about the Elk Rapids Library. I mean, my heart is with it and I want to support it. But if everyone in the township is paying for it, but everyone in the township doesn't have the same access to the same services, that's
So
where
it
my
would-
problem is.
It would be more, oh, I see, everyone's paying, but you're paying $5 a person just for 600. If I
disputing-
took the whole
And I
district,
get that.
yeah.
But I mean, if somebody up here doesn't even want to give a penny to it, if they don't, you see
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
that really is your
In-
choice.
in
That's
the
your choice.
past-
Yeah.
In the past, if we were contributing and everyone had access to it, I'm not saying that we shouldn't somehow support it, but I can't say that everyone in the township would support it if they don't all have access to the same services. You see? I mean.
Yeah, it's a hard conundrum that you're in. I appreciate that. I learned that from this conversation. It's not something the library has done. It's just that you have an unserved population. We would love to have them in our district one day.
Well, we
We
don't,
cannot do it right
Pam.
now.
we don't have an unserved. We have a library. People can go to our library at Central Lake.
Well,
Half of them.
And the
But
other
don't they
half,
pay-
They will have to
for their
pay.
taxes.
Yeah.
we pay through our taxes, but if the people in Elk Rapids School District wants to use Central Lake, their card is only $20 for a visitor. You've told me numerous times that you think we should be paying the same ratio as what your other communities are paying.
Yes, I believe that.
Which is $80.
Mhm.
So I think the board will go back into our discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, and the contract does not say $80 per person.
No,
We're
it's-
giving you
Of course not.
$5 per person.
You didn't put anything in the contract. It just said guest library card with no cost associated with it.
And actually, our circulation policy has not been revised yet, so I couldn't put the amount, but I'll tell you the guest amount is $40. It's half the amount. And the full privileges is $80, just like
Okay.
our people who pay taxes
Very
to
good.
us, so.
I just feel like I'd be making decisions for people that might not think that way. Like if I just said willy-nilly, let's use even if it's a quarter, if it's 10 cents of your money, if you don't have access to the same things that I have access to because I live in Elk Rapids School District or whatever, I'm just saying, if it comes out of the general fund, it's coming from everyone in the township, and everyone in the township should have the same access to it.
So,
Even if it's $5, I mean, I understand that's a great price. I
Right.
do understand that. I'm
so
just
would it
saying,
be more palatable if we said everyone has guest services and nobody has?
For me, to say if it was coming out of the general fund. I mean, that's the thing. This is coming out of the general fund. If we were proposing it as on people's taxes that live in that school district, I know Rita had talked about that, that's different because those people can make those choices for themselves. But for us to just say, yeah, we're going to use all your money, but you don't get to use as much stuff, but you get to use it all, it doesn't seem right to me, no matter what the cost is, even though I agree it's a great
Yeah,
cost.
we're really trying to work with you, just so you know. This is no.
And
no-
I've
we
thought about this
really
a lot.
want library services for your people. It would be a shame if you turn this down.
That's fine. Thanks, Pam. Sharon?
Okay.
This is my
I'm sorry?
comment, just like a question. So Central Lake has a millage that pays for their library, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
This portion of Torch Lake Township does not have a millage to pay for library services, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The boundary is about this township building here. The last house right north of us is exactly, they built the house because it was a teacher in Elk Rapids, and she only built the house there because she wanted that house to be in Central Lake School District. So that house south is in is Elk Rapids School District, and everything north and all the way around the lake and to the north of the store is all Central Lake School District. So we're kind of, in that region in there. So Bob asked me to continue here. So I'm going to pick it apart. Can I pick it apart?
It's
Um,
board discussion.
Purpose and principles. Number 1, Elk Rapids District School Library and Torch Lake Township. Is it Torch Lake Township as a whole, or is it Torch Lake Township, Elk Rapids School District? That would be a distinction
Yes.
of a contract of who's using it. And then it goes highlighted at the end there of that paragraph. To this end, the library agrees to extend full library services to eligible residents of Torch Lake Township under the terms outlined below. So I'm not sure what all that entails.
Sharon, I just jump in here.
Yep,
I would say that the first sentence, since it's a contract, probably is identifying the township as a whole. And then they start differentiating it as they go further in the contract.
okay, so Torch Lake Township as a whole, and then they break it down as we go.
Right.
And then number two, beginning in fiscal year 26, 27, this amount shall increase annually by percentage equal to the taxable value increase as reported in the L429. Who's L4029? Elk Rapids, Milton, Torch Lake? I mean, there's a question there. Okay. Okay, so it would be the town, it would be the library L4029.
That's a good question.
And I don't know what those figures are. I've never seen them before. So, I mean, why would I want to look for it now, until now, you know? So we pay annually percentage equal to that. So I don't even know what the L49 shows, but we'll stop there. And then going down, number 4, this agreement consists of contract for services and does not establish. I'm not sure what that all means in there. For services and does not establish the
Well,
township.
What it says is you pay them money, but you have no say in how they spend it.
Right, and so we don't have a vote, and that's
Right.
perfectly fine. Library, and then number 3, I highlighted these so long ago, I have to remember myself when I'm present. Oh, yeah, and of course, number 3 is, you've listed all these reports that should include. We've been paying money all along, so why haven't we gotten any of these reports all along in past years? I've been on here for 20-some plus years. I don't remember that at all. So,
We haven't been encouraged to come, that's for sure, but I will be happy to come. It's also an oversight on my part to come. So I need to-
okay, well,
We want to show you in good faith that we will give you that, those stats.
okay, so that was my comment. Why haven't we got them so far? Number 5, residency eligibility. Maybe some of these have been addressed through the night as we talked. Agreement only to residents of Torch Lake Township who also reside within the Elk Rapids School District. Well, I'm sure we talked about that already.
Yeah, that's,
So that was a highlight of. Number 6. Well, I have highlighted the words lower than the proportional support. My notes here. When was that district voted on? When was your district? I mean, what are you called? Are you central, or are you Elk Rapids District Library, or what are you called? I guess that's what it is here.
I think.
District Library. So,
Hey, Sharon, what they're saying is they don't want to charge us the $80 that everybody that's in their library district is paying today. But they want to charge us something less than that.
right. You said the library's been there as a district library. How long has it been?
Well, as a district library, it's been since 2001.
Yeah, not as a district library. The library's been there a long time, but my question was district library when it was voted on. How come Torch Lake wasn't ever included in that?
It
All right.
was an oversight.
Yeah, okay.
Because
So-
they had such a great contract with you for years, and it was a small area, they just thought. let's just
It was a
do it.
small area. We are.
Hey, Pam, come on and back up to the microphone. The other half of the room can't hear what you're
Sorry.
saying.
I was just saying, we've had a contract with you for over 30 years that I can find, but I even have records of referring to Township up to 50 years. So we've had a long relationship. So the last 20 years, you've paid the same price. No one has really paid attention to any of it. So
I don't,
This year, we paid attention to it.
we all should have, you know. I
That's-
wish they would have.
there was a
pulled you
year in there, our former clerk, I forgot to even pay you. And
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
said, you
Yeah.
know, so. um,
Anything else, Sharon?
In the very last of this page here, I've got it highlighted, in the event of termination of current fiscal year, I don't think that's anything there. So as we go on with the dollars and cents, your penal fund, you get $3,500 from the county treasurer, is that correct?
For penal fines? No, we
How-
get 3,500 from you.
3,500 per township?
For penal fines?
Yeah,
We get per capita, I don't know what the numbers are. Every year it's different. And Antrim County divvies that out for penal fines, right? Penal
Mhm,
fines are
mhm,
used, you know, for all of us.
mhm.
But your numbers are, the Torch Lake numbers of 606 are calculated into our numbers. So our population becomes 5,500 instead of 4,900 and such.
Well, I'm looking at last year, 2024 distribution report that I
Yeah,
pulled up.
yeah.
And it's got $3,500 law just in there. So I'm thinking that's divided by 3 townships because you use the figure 1166, which if you were to, when you're using statistics here.
Oh, on the back, I see where you are. So I took my penal fines, total penal fines and divided by the population and realized that 606 people were represented.
Well, I wouldn't be by population. If you use the information on this page here, it shows that the Elk Rapids Library would lose in revenue $5,166. I use that figure and less 3,500 that we had been paying you
Right,
brings down to that $1,666. And then an extra $503 from state aid
state aid.
brings it down to the 1163, which is that penal fund. So that's all part of that, correct?
Yes.
So
yes.
that, it comes out of Elk Rapids, Milton, and Torch Lake, then that penal fund.
Yeah, it comes, and that's specifically, and maybe I recalculated, or I calculated it wrong, but that's specifically the Torch Lake portion only. Our whole penal fine is usually around 10 to 12,000. So you're just a little portion of it. That will go in escrow. Those penal fines will go to nobody until you get library services again.
Mhm.
Till
I
you have a
understand that.
contract.
I don't know if everyone knows what penal fine is. It's their issue from the county. It's state of Michigan. It's for persons that are found guilty by court of violations. That money goes in, and there's a percentage that has to
Yeah.
go.
And
So
we always thank you when you get a ticket, because
Yeah.
some of that money goes to the municipalities.
I worked at the county treasurer's office, so I know sent a lot of those
Yeah,
penal
you know
fine
more than
checks
I
out.
do, that's for sure.
So another short sheet that you gave us here, information on Torch Lake Township. Torch Lake Township population serves 9% of the total population. So what you're saying on this sheet here, I highlighted, you've got 2024 total population of Torch Lake at 71%. That means only 29% goes to Central Lake. I don't think that's.
No, it's not your whole population. We're saying that 9% of our circulation of
I got
all of our
that.
stuff, okay.
But
Which
it
one
goes
are you
farther
on?
down. It
Okay.
says total percentage of Torch Lake population, 71%. That seems,
Okay,
not
this
right.
is 71% of the Torch Lake contracted population which is that, at this time, this paper said 500 is before we had it was the very first meeting I met with Bob, and none of us knew our numbers. So 71% were using, according to those numbers, were using the library. It is less than that now because our numbers are 606 and not 500. But it's a large population that has cards. Let's think 606 people in this area, and we have 356 people with cards, and that's not kids. The kids don't have physical cards. They get free services.
It's all
at
over.
the-
That's the
yeah.
same thing as every
So, yeah,
library.
we're just
Yeah,
saying
we don't
that-
even include that, so.
Right. So that's where that came from. But this one was with the incorrect numbers of 500 instead of 606.
Okay, well, it said 2022, 63%, 23, 66, and 24, 71% of percentage of Torch
Right.
Lake population, so.
So if you divide that by 606 instead of 500, those numbers, the number of patrons, you'll get the correct percentages. And I presented those last time I came. Actually, I think I have copies of them right here. I can give to you.
I have more papers for the library here than I
We've
have my
learned a
township
lot,
board.
haven't we?
I have the Library Privacy Act in front of me here and
Cool.
Act 59 of 1964. I'm not sure where board, any more discussion than I can. I just needed clarification on some things. So can this contract be tweaked?
All we ever wanted was to talk about a contract. We didn't want to send you a contract. We wanted to sit and talk. That's what we wanted.
Well,
So we got it. We were happy. I was happy last time when I came
Oh,
and you
yeah,
said,
this
send us
is-
a contract.
This is much different than what I got over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going by
Well,
this
you
and
weren't
I
here
said, this,
last week, or
this-
last time, I don't think. When
this
I-
doesn't
Yeah.
add up in my head.
And last time I talked about how the numbers, we were discovering what the numbers were bigger than what we thought. And so I recalculated them and I
Okay.
presented that last time.
This
but-
makes more sense.
Anything else?
How were how was Milton Township, ER Township, and Village of ER gonna react when they are paying $76 and we're only paying $7?
Yeah, well, a lot of people know it. A lot of people understand that the case that we're in, and they would like to include this area in our district, but they also know our limitations right now. We just cannot do it. I'd love to do it right now. I wish it was the only thing on my docket, but it's not. That's why we're asking for 5 years, just so we can get settled. We can get in there. We can show people how great this new facility is going to be. We can make a difference with the kids in the schools. And then I think we'll get even better buy-in at that time.
How many miles is it from the red light to where the new one is at?
Oh, it's, I don't know. is that a-
3,
No,
2,
Probably a mile. It's a half
Yeah.
mile from the schools. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a
And then
mile.
it's, and the place we're in right now is over a mile from the schools. And the kids have to cross over the freeways to get there. And
Do they
there's no. bu-
walk? They don't walk, do
They
they?
have to. There's no bus. We can't get a bus up the hill.
Oh,
We can't do a turnaround with our bus. See, I'd love to do a presentation about the new library to you too, to let you know that this has been 10 years of strategic planning that has said, we need to move the library. We have 5,500 people we serve, and we're not doing a good job in that beautiful building that I love. It's not that I want to leave. I love my view,
mhm.
but
sure.
this is a library, not a tourist place, right?
Okay, well, Mr. Supervisor, I think this is still a work in progress, in my opinion, but that's just me.
Jason?
Yeah, I'm with Sharon. I think we're getting there.
I definitely agree. This contract doesn't fly for me. And it's primarily because you're asking half my township to support something. So usually I always ask people if they have a problem with me, present a solution. I have a solution for you. Since you want equitable treatment, Torch Lake Township people, and you want $3,627, I recommend that you put a fee in for a visitor fee for total Torch Lake Township at $10. If you have 365 people that use the library in our township, you will get exactly what you're asking this board for. And It's paid by people that want to use your library, and it doesn't put this board at having to address a tax issue with a library issue and an education system. Charge the people $10, use your 367 count, and you get your money. If in fact the services are better and more people want to use them, you'll get more than the $3,600 from us. I think that's a very fair, reasonable resolution. We can do a one-year contract that you provide $10 for any resident, Torch Lake Township, and I'm sure the board would support that. Other than that, you and I go back into negotiations, and it's your choice. With that, I will close board discussion. Let's see. All right. I have nothing for informational purposes only. Citizen comment is open again, 4-minute limit.
My name is Julia Hollister Amos. I am a taxpayer through our family farm in Torch Lake Township. Bob asked at one point if you have anybody from Torch Lake Township that thought we should support this library, come and state their case. That's my case, Bob. I pay taxes here. Mary, my question for you is, how many people did you vote for supporting the nature preserve, supporting Parks and Recreation, that you wanted to make sure they felt good about what you were spending that money on? When you want to think about every single thing that you guys vote on, aside from the fact that you all live in Central Lake, and this relates to people in this area that don't live in Central Lake, when you think about all the things that you vote on, do you take that tack for every single thing, that you have to make sure that that person or this group is going to support the parks, is going to support your nature preserve, is going to support your boat launch? Just think about it that way. That's my point on that one. I'm surprised that none of you have been to our new facility except Bob, because we dragged him there. I think you should see what it is. I think our library, the Elk Rapids District Library, deserves enough respect from you to have listened to these things long before you just said, hey, we're not paying it. Yes, you should have had more of us up here, but I can attest to the fact that we have made offers to come and talk to you about the library before. That's okay. Pam can document that if she wants to. I'm just saying that I think this hard line, the hard line of no, 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 is disrespectful to the library. It's disrespectful to the people that you represent that live in this part of your district, okay? It's a bargain. You know, if you guys can't find $3,600 in your budget, and I've looked through your budget and I've looked through your expenses, it's amazing to me. It's a bargain for the people. We've tried very hard, bent over backwards to try to be polite, be respectful, and respect the ideas that you guys have and the concerns that you have, and have come up with what most of us thought was a very reasonable solution. There are members of our board that don't think it's reasonable, but they think we should ask for more money from you guys. We'd like to keep this thing going until we have a chance, if we have a chance, and to go to consolidate another library district would not be an easy thing. But it's a lot simpler and a lot cleaner to keep doing what we've been doing with very little increase, and it wouldn't have. Then the bonus is Pam talks to Central Lake Library. Okay, so Central Lake doesn't have the services that we have, so they can't offer the things at that library that we have in Elk Rapids. But if these two libraries can agree to at least work together, anybody goes to anybody's library, that's great. We can't help it that they don't have access to Melcat, that they don't have access because they're not part of the co-op. That's not our fault. That's the way they choose to run their library. But if we can bring those together and say, hey, anybody can go to anybody's library, which some people are doing right now, and you know that. There are members that live in Central Lake that go into Elk Rapids and say they're from Torch Lake. That's just the way things work. We get that. And we don't want to deprive people of services. That's the biggest concern. I think everybody on the board, I'm on the board, by the way, in case you don't know that. Everybody that's on the library board worries about. It's not so much about the money, it's the service to people. This is the easiest and simplest way to get services to people. If you want to handle bookkeeping like you just talked about, Bob, you probably can do that. I don't know that makes a whole lot of sense to do all these different, this is simple, Bob. This is clean and simple. And I don't understand why you guys don't understand why it's clean and simple, because your taxpayers in this area have been used to coming and getting full services in Elk Rapids Township.
Yep.
Excuse me, Elk Rapids
You have
Library.
30 seconds.
I'm surprised I got it done in 30, I'm surprised I have 30 seconds.
No,
left.
you were on a roll. I think that's fine. That's,
And I have a speech impediment, so I'm
Right.
sorry I wasn't very clear.
no, you were very
You're good.
clear. Any others?
Nancy Taylor, I just wanted clarification from Bob's proposal is that you're saying that it's the responsibility of the southern portion of Torch Lake Township and the Elk Rapids District School District, instead of the township general fund paying the contracted fee that your proposal is that the library offer us $10 cards.
For the whole township. For anybody in the township, charge them $10 and you'll get more than the $3,600 that you want
Right,
from me.
but then that now.
But that's equal treatment to everybody in my township, and that means I don't have to argue about taxes, who's paying taxes where. This is a simple solution. You wanted $3,600, charge $10 for a Torch Lake Township resident, and I don't have to argue with everybody else. But really, that's really not what you're wanting. You don't want a simple solution. It is a simple solution, and you get the money that you tell me that you would get because of what evidence you put in your statistics. You said I got 367, maybe 500 users. Charge them $10 and you get a lot more money than the 3,600 you're asking us
Right,
for.
but I can't go to Central Lake Library. I don't live there.
That's not, has nothing to do with Central Lake. It has.
That's what you just were
No.
talking, I'm sorry, can I just, I'm trying, possibly not clarifying. The reason why I'm asking the question is, I think your proposal is that the people in Torch Lake Township that live in Elk Rapids School District get this $10 deal.
No.
Yet the people, no, that's
No,
not what you're
I'm
saying?
not saying that. I'm saying everybody in the township, charge them $10 and get to 3,600. Because in essence, the way you want me to approach it, I have to take it out of the general fund, and now I got half the community paying 2 taxes for the use of 1 library. And that makes no sense to me.
But the northern portion has a library.
But they're still paying.
But they're still, we're paying a tax. Now you want for me to take half of the tax fund, which is partially the north, and give it to Elk Rapids Library for the people who live in Elk Rapids School District. And that's double taxation on that group of people. I'm saying the easy solution, just charge everybody $10 and get as many cards as you can. And keep me out of the middle of arguing between 2 different tax districts. That's
So
all.
you're taking it personally rather than your
No.
constituents?
I'm taking it personally from a board standpoint because you're putting us in that situation. I've given you Pam, we're done.
Oh, I can't talk.
No, we had citizen comment. It's now board comment. All right, I'll give you
I just
1
wanna
minute.
Clarify a couple
Yep.
things. If we charge $10 to everyone in Torch Lake, then we will have a rebellion from the Elk Rapids people. You have been doing this for 30 years. What is different this year is my question. What is different?
You want the answer to that?
Yeah, I do.
It was a meeting I sat in, and you started out by saying Torch Lake Township has not paid their share, and
Oh.
that should be paid equal to what you're getting from the other groups, and that's where the $80 came from.
Excuse me, there were a
That's
number of
fine.
people in that meeting sitting here, and I did not say that.
You
done.
said we were under submitting. You guys, That was the whole argument. So anyway,
Thank you for listening. I'm really sorry about
that,
whatever, and what's to come. It's really sad. It's sad to me.
that's fine, Pam, thank you.
Very sad.
All right, any other board comment?
I have board comment.
Any board comment?
Is
No?
it time for board comment?
Yeah.
I didn't draw a line in the sand. I thought this was still a work in progress. I don't necessarily agree with Bob.
Well, that's
I-
fine.
I simply wanted to see, I mean, it's very basic. All I want to see is something that includes everyone in the township, whatever that looks like. I just can't, ever since I joined this board, I've tried to think like other people. Not everything that I think is what I really think. I just try to think about the greater good or what everybody would feel. And I cannot see money coming out of the general fund that only serves half the people. So if everyone in the township had the same access, then it would be a whole different thing for me. I'm not going to suggest what you should or shouldn't bring to the table, but that's my only problem, is that I can't see why people that are already paying the tax to use the Central Lake Library would feel good about contributing to the general fund or contributing to this out of the general fund. That's my only problem. Like, I still want to support the library. And I wasn't in on that discussion. I wish that we could go back in time and I could sit in on that whole discussion too.
Well, there's nothing that stops us from not having further discussions. I've just laid out a solution to what I see as our problem.
But I just
So-
wanted to be clear that I didn't draw any line in the sand. I thought we were still talking.
So
And-
that's fine. We can have a meeting. It's totally in your
I just want
camp.
to see something that serves the entire township equally, because I don't want someone to come to me and say, well, you voted for this, but now I have to pay extra. And I understand where you're coming from. If you offer it to people for $10, there are going to be people that are upset about it. Just the same as if someone in the township can't, they're going to say the same thing to me. Well, why did you vote for this? If I don't have access to all the same things that, somebody on this end has access. That's my only problem.
All right.
Jason?
We'll have separate, I'm sorry, no. No, at this point,
Jason?
I think we'll set up a meeting. Board, you want to,
I mean, I'm in Torch Lake Township, I'm in the Central Lake School Districts. I've been paying the tax. I don't want to pay for something twice. So that's where I'm sorry. I mean, I've used that library. I love the library, but I think everybody in our township should have use for that.
If they're paying for it.
If they're paying
If
for it.
everyone's paying for it, they should all have the same access.
I'm already paying for it.
so Pam, I go back and I'm closing the board comment section down. If you want to have further discussions, I'm open for it, but at this point, I think you've gotten direction from the board and we can take that further in a discussion with the library board if you want.
I didn't have
Sharon,
any comment.
she's got a
You want
comment.
to add a comment?
I'm a board member here. Yes, I do.
Well, I thought you started this whole thing.
No,
It was me.
no, it was Mary. I would like to say that I've been on this board longer than anybody else has, and we have paid that $3,035. It started out smaller. Nobody complained about it through all the years. I, as a tax collector, know what taxes we collect for the Central Lake School District, and I know the portion that we pay out of general fund. So it was kind of a beef in the beginning, but as time evolved, now I think there could be a lot of cleanup on this, because as a tax person and numbers, I think that there should be some cleanup on this. I don't hear anybody, nobody comes to the township board to complain about going to the library or not. We don't hear those types of questions or disagreements in it. So we need to just relook at this, revisit this. And I think we can come up with a good conclusion. I think we need to work together again on this. I've looked at these numbers, I looked at these proposals. I don't think we're out of the woods yet. I think we still need discussion. That's how I feel. So I think somewhere along the way, we need to meet. It's hard to meet with 2 board members can meet, but not 3. So we'll have to make decisions on who can meet with a library board. But I think that it's the same thing as, you know, we're not paying any taxes on the proposed bike trails and all this sort of stuff, but everybody uses it. Everybody uses these same services and goods and everything that goes through your townships. We have a boat launch, it's very busy. We like our residents to use it. We charge for non-residents because it's very expensive to keep up that. So there's things along the way we have to give and take, and I think it's a tug of war at times, but I think we can come up with a conclusion. That's how I feel.
All right. Good.
I agree.
I'll close board comment. I'll make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
9
Meeting's
o'clock, Mary.
adjourned.